How you doing, everybody? Welcome back to Staying Focused for Jesus. Hope each and every one of you are having a blessed day in the Lord Jesus Christ. As always, today is Saturday, October 2nd, 2021. Early in the morning, as usual, for me nowadays. That's some strong stuff. This right here. You believe everything you're told, don't you? If I tell you something, you believe it, don't you? Tell the truth. I don't believe everything you say. Well, that's good. It's not that you should believe everything I say. What should be happening is you should be checking to see if what I'm saying is true. So that you can decide if you are going to believe it. Some things you don't have to research for yourself. Some things you do. Because the Spirit is going to lead you and guide you in all truth. Meaning that we are codependent on each other, but we're not dependent on each other. Because we are dependent on God. Because if something happens to me, are you going to stop researching? Or are you simply going to try to rely on all the videos that I do and not do your own work? You see what I'm saying? Things change. People die. Both believers and non-believers. Oh man, that's strong. This is some lemon and lime water. I take the lemon and the lime and I scrub the skin. And I get done squeezing it and I put it in some water so it can get all the good stuff out of there. And then pour it as my base. And then sometimes I make a lemonade out of that. It's like a spicy lemonade. But this has just a few drops of honey, some turmeric, ginger root, some cinnamon, and some cayenne pepper. It's going to get you going. So I ask you again, do you believe everything that you're told? Do you believe everything you're told? They told you breakfast of champions, because you are breaking your fast. Well, what happens if you're still fasting? They tell you that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Is that true though? The most important meal of the day is the meal that your body tells you that, hey, you need to eat. You need to do this, you need to do that. Your body's going to tell you how much water you need, how much food you need, based on what you are doing. So this whole notion that breakfast is the most important meal of the day, I used to believe that. I don't believe that anymore. Because if they say that, which is true, that when you sleep, your body is recovering, repairing, and stuff like that. And then you wake up, you eat breakfast to break the fast because you're fasting. Well, then my thinking is, well, what happens if I continue the fast? What happens if I continue the fast? That means that since my body is already in a state of fasting, most likely then I can get my body in what we call ketosis, which means that your body will start to burn that fat, which means that you will reduce your weight. And also we know the spiritual benefits of fasting. So wouldn't it make more sense to keep your body in a state of fasting? I mean, that makes sense to me. Now, do I eat breakfast? Of course I do. I eat breakfast when I want to eat breakfast, and if I don't want to eat breakfast, I don't eat breakfast. Like today, I'm not eating breakfast. I'm drinking my drink. Things change. Things change. And that's the theme of today's video. Things that were done a certain way before, they aren't necessarily done the same way today. Before, the church was being physically persecuted. Believers were being martyred left and right, especially in Christ's time period. That is still happening today, but it's not happening on the level of how it was happening back in the day, because things have changed. The devil came in and said, dang, when I kill them, people believe them even more. When I kill them and they're not denouncing or renouncing their faith, it strengthens other believers. You ever heard or seen a movie that said, oh, don't make him a martyr? You made him to a martyr now. The people, you know what I'm saying, the cause or whatever is going to be even stronger. So they try to kill this person or get rid of this person in a way that seems or that's disgraceful to the movement or whatever. The same thing, kind of like, not the same thing, but in the sense of martyrdom, happened with George Floyd. Now, Derek Chauvin, he did what he did, right? He was probably thinking one way. Not realizing that what he did, he ended up helping a cause that he was most likely 99.9%, 100% against. And George Floyd ended up becoming this martyrdom, figure for a lot of people, not me. So things change in regard to how stuff goes on. And today Satan is like, well, I'm not going to do that because it makes their case and what they believe stronger. What I am going to do is I'm going to infiltrate and pose myself as one of them. Remember, the devil had already delivered up Christ to be crucified. Remember what the scriptures tell you, that if they truly knew, meaning they truly believed, they didn't truly believe that was him. Jesus, they kind of like told them. Some of the devils even knew it, and he told them to be quiet. It's not a matter of they didn't really know, in the sense of like not knowing at all. The devil came to him and said, if you be the Son of God, if you be the Son of Man. So there was something there that he was like, okay, it's a possibility. We know that he's coming. I'm hearing about this guy. But Satan probably thinking, well, I heard about people before that claim to be this Messiah, the Messiah. And it goes on like I was just saying. It said if they knew, they truly believed. They didn't truly believe it was him. Even though he was doing everything that he was doing. The same thing with the Pharisees and everything. He told them, but they still did not believe him. Well, the Pharisees, Jesus said that they are of their father the devil, right? So Christ told the devil who he was. Yeah, I'm who I am. You see what I'm doing? And he still did not believe. It wasn't that Christ was trying to be deceptive or whatever. But the word does tell us that if they truly knew, if they truly believed, then they would not have delivered him up to be crucified. And he saw what that did. He saw what that did, so he was upset, and he wanted a killing spree and everything, tried to slow it down, tried to stop it. It got worse. Then he got he used a different tactic, a different war tactic, because we were at war. And he said, you know what? I'm not going to kill them like that. I'm going to infiltrate. I'm going to pose myself as one of them, and I can do more damage. More damage has been done. More deception has gone on by the Antichrist and his goons posing themselves as believers than if they would just, martyr us, kill us off. More damage has been done that way than how he was doing it before. So things change. Things change. I want to read this scripture. It's in Matthew chapter 11. And I want to go down to start in verse 7. And as they departed, Jesus began to say unto the multitudes concerning John, what went ye out into the wilderness to see? A reed shaken in the wind? But what went ye out for to see? A man clothed in soft raiment? Behold, they that wear soft clothing are in kings' houses. But what went ye out for to see? A prophet? Yea, I say unto you, and more than a prophet. So when you come to this ministry, I ask you this question. What did you come here for? What did you come to see? Did you come to see a reed shaken with the wind? Did you come to see a man clothed in soft raiment? I don't work clothes. I'm a working man. You want me to get on the video and you want me to be GQ every video? And okay, he doesn't work like a regular corporate job. So why this brother always fresh? He's talking about he's going to do work, but he's always fresh? So you coming to see me dressed in soft clothing and fine raiment every video? You come to see a reed shaking with the wind? You come to see if I'm going to be shook? I ask you this question. What are you here to see? Not necessarily with your physical eye, but with your spiritual eye. Things change. Things change, and they can change based on our perception. It's not that they change, it's just that our view changes. If you can see this wide, and then God allows you to see this wide, and this wide, and this wide, then your perception of how you perceive things changes. When I say change, it grows. But things do change. And how things are handled, they change according to what you know. Because if you only know a certain amount of stuff, then you can only handle or respond to a certain level. Things change. I want y'all to get that. A seed is planted and it grows into a little shoot. And that shoot sprouts up and then it grows into a great tree that brings forth fruit. That seed changed from a seed into a great tree bringing forth fruit. Things change. I used to work out, we're going to say 5 to 6 times a week. Sometimes 7 times a week. I used to work out. And I used to work out 2 times a day. 2 times a day, a minimum of 5 times a week. And I was ripped, I was cut up. And I was working out so much that I wasn't even eating enough calories to keep up with how much I was working out. And I knew something was off. And I finally realized what it was, and I'm like, dang, I got to eat more food. I'm not eating enough food. So I had to eat like 5, 6, 7,000 calories. I had to find a way to maximize the amount of calories that I ate without overdoing it. But my body was taking it in like nothing. Like, yeah, give it to me. So then, that stopped work, the working out slowed down. And then, I got to a point where I really wasn't working out at all. I would do a few push-ups here, a few push-ups there, but, it's not the same when you at this peak level of performance, and then, it changes drastically. Your body is used to that. Your body is used to that, but it's not getting that anymore. So, a brother didn't put on a few pounds, just being honest. It's not too hard to see. I would consider myself out of shape in comparison to how I used to be. But the average person, that if you saw me, you'd be like, you're not really out of shape, not in my eyes. But like I said, you gotta remember, I was working out 5 times a week, 2 times a day. So my definition, perspective, right, based on the knowledge and wisdom I have, my definition of being out of shape is going to be a little bit different from other people's. Now, out of shape is out of shape regardless. And like I said, I would consider myself out of shape. The hardest thing that you will face in life, this is a bold statement right here, in regards to discipline, is not necessarily being disciplined in the scriptures. It's being disciplined in your eating. And there's a correlation between the two. There's a correlation between the two. If you're not disciplined in your eating habits, your physical eating habits, what makes you think that you're going to be disciplined when it comes to the scriptures? If you're not disciplined in the scriptures, what makes you think that you're going to be disciplined when it comes to your physical eating lifestyle? I was not as disciplined as I should have been with my eating. Still ate healthy overall, but I wasn't as disciplined as I should have been. I would look in the mirror and I would say, dang, gut is, bigger than what I wanted it to be. I would like to lose that. Would like to lose it. Who doesn't want to lose their gut? But I didn't really do anything about it. Didn't get out here and work out and stuff like that. Take the time. Would talk about it, but wasn't it? Would eat my salads, eat my sweet potatoes. Everything in between. Have a few cookies here and there, but it wasn't the fact of me having cookies or, pizza or, whatever it may be, or bread. It was that things change. And I wasn't burning as many calories as I used to. My body is used to burning all these calories. So now that has drastically slowed down in comparison to where it was. My body isn't processing and burning the food in that manner. As far as like, yeah, we need it so we can get, you know what I'm saying, get these cells moving and keep them going. So instead of burning as fast as it used to, what happens? It sticks even more. It sticks even more than what it, you know what I'm saying, what it used to. So things change. And for me, a regular meal ends up being like almost like overeating. Because before you know it, you're putting on pounds. And you're like, dang, where does weight come from? Well, you're not burning as many calories as you used to. The problem with most people is they severely lack discipline. It's not a matter of, you know, I'm supposed to be taking in 2,000 or so calories, and, you know, I'm taking in, you know, 2,500 calories or whatever, and then the extra 500 every day, it adds up. Most people know they're taking in, I'm saying, 4,000 calories or more. You see what I'm saying? So, because I'm in the Word, I was convicted, and not because of my gut, but because of the discipline. And I was like, you know, I need to get more discipline in my eating. I need to get more discipline in my eating. I used to eat a salad for dinner every night. That was pretty much my dinner, a big salad. Because my thinking is, I want to make sure I eat my salad at night, so when I lay down, when it's processing and breaking all that stuff down, then it go in there and it do what's supposed to do, repair, you know, to repair and, you know, and fuel the body for the next day. I don't just be eating just to eat, you know. If I'm eating something, it's for a reason. And that's the way it should be. But I wasn't as disciplined as I should have been with my eating habits or eating lifestyle, however you want to put it. And I was convicted by that. And I haven't been working out like I said I want to work out. But I have been working on this property, on this house, putting in some hours on it. And in like a few days, just by being more disciplined, that is really water weight. It's like gone. Most of it's gone. Even with my stomach, I can still see the remnant. The remnant of my, you know what I'm saying, six-pack and my obliques. But just by me being more disciplined, changing, and saying, you know what, I'm going to be more disciplined in my eating. Like really disciplined. Like I said, my discipline may not be the same as somebody else's discipline, depending on what level you at. And like it fell off. I know it's pretty much water weight. To the point where even my wife was like, yeah, now, you know what I'm saying, I got to get on it. I got to get on it. You know, because she has that little pudge for having 2 children and stuff like that, and she doesn't work out like she used to. But she saw it instantly also, like, she's like, how'd you do that? How'd you do that? Like, your stomach went from having some hang to like, almost like, you know, there's nothing there. All because of discipline and change. Things change. The body don't work the way it used to. The hair might not grow the way it used to. I mean, my beard, this is a change. I didn't always have this facial hair. It didn't always grow like this. It changed, and then I was able to. You know, I still have hair on my head. My hair can still grow. I just decide to rock a bald head, and you know, I have my reasons for that I have expressed before. But we're going to go to the book of John, chapter 16. I know some of this may not make sense yet, but hopefully it will for you by the end of the video. So we're going to John 16. We're going to go to verse 29. His disciples said unto him, Lo, now speakest thou plainly, and speakest no proverb. So his disciples always came to him after the fact, and they wanted him to clearly declare what he was talking about. This is one reason why I speak the way that I speak, but I also at the same time speak in parables. So I ask you again, what did you come to see? And why do you have a problem when I speak plainly? If I change it up, then you have a problem. If I speak plainly and changing it up from speaking in a parable, then you have a problem. All throughout the scriptures, we know there are parables, there are mysteries, there are proverbs. Some of them we're still trying to understand ourselves. But what we do see, we see a change. We see a change from the things that are hidden to those things which are hidden being revealed. We see a change from things that are hidden, going from being hidden to being revealed. Matthew chapter 24. The famous Matthew 24 that people love to bring up. Right? I want to show you something. It may not be in Matthew 24. Y'all give me a second. Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Where you at? Come on. So I don't think it's Matthew 24, maybe in Luke. But what it tells us is this. I know what it says, I just want to read it. It tells us that Christ is speaking about all these things that are going to be happening in the last days, specifically during the time of Jacob's trouble. And people love to quote that. The Bible tells us that we will face and go through persecution. There's no doubt about that. Trials and tribulations. He actually gave that as a promise. So that's not the issue, but there are different levels and different types of persecution and trials and tribulations. And for some odd reason, people always try to correlate that with death, with being a martyr. You know, it's like you can't be persecuted without being a martyr to them. If you're not a martyr, then, you know, it's not real persecution. But the Bible doesn't teach that. So in the context of Matthew 24, and I think also it's Luke, but it says specifically, before Christ goes in and he says all this stuff about the things that are going to be going on, he says, pray ye always that you are accounted worthy to escape. He said, well, I says, watch and pray, excuse me. Watch and pray always that you are accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. The very things he's speaking about in the book of Matthew. He says, watch and pray that what? That you are accounted worthy to escape all these things that shall come to pass and to stand before the Son of Man. So why is it that people only address the persecution and all the things we read about in the book of Matthew, chapter 24, and also in the book of Luke? But they don't want to address that point right there. Because if we go with the notion of, hey, everybody's going to be a martyr and all these different things, then what do we do with that scripture? So there's a change that occurs for a specific reason. Change occurs for specific reasons. It's starting to make sense now. Everything I was telling you. A child goes through puberty. A change occurs for a specific reason. Because that child's body can no longer stay in the form that is in. It must grow, or there's going to be problems. So again, change occurs for specific reasons. Things happen for specific reasons. There's a time and there's a place for everything, as the wise prophet Solomon told us. We shall all be changed in the twinkling of an eye. The change that occurs with the twinkling of an eye is for a specific reason and purpose. Are we understanding? So, when we go to the book of Revelation, and it speaks about the 7 churches, how many of the churches specifically does he address and speak about death? One directly, I think one indirectly. So that's 2 out of 7. You do the math. The rest of them, he doesn't say anything about you're going to be, they're martyred or you're going to go through these different things. He speaks about some other things that they're going through. Now, it doesn't mean that those people in those church ages or the individuals that relate to the those spirits, those angels, won't be martyred or whatnot. But it doesn't mean that all of them are going to be martyred. When we go to Revelation, and I want to look at the lukewarm church. I want to look at the lukewarm church. And unto the angel of the church of the Laodiceans, write. Because people say that we're living in this is the church age that we're living in. We're living in the church age of the Laodiceans, right? Well, you have a remnant of Philadelphia that's still here. Because all throughout the scriptures, a remnant is always carried over. The remnant is carried over. The remnant is preserved so that they can bring the truth to the individuals who don't know. Because when the next generation comes up, they act like they forget God. And so you have the remnant being carried over to bring the revelation, to bring the grace and mercy of God, to bring the people back into remembrance of what they're supposed to be doing in the first place. So you have a remnant of the Church of Philadelphia that's in the Laodicean church age. These things saith the Amen, the faithful and true witness, the beginning of the creation of God. I know thy works, thou art neither cold nor hot. I would thou wert cold or hot. So then, because thou art lukewarm, and neither cold nor hot, I will spew thee out of my mouth. So, the question we must ask ourselves is, why are they cold or hot? I mean, why are they lukewarm? if you notice what God is saying, what Christ is saying, he wants a change in them. It's starting to make sense. He wants, if you're lukewarm and you go from being lukewarm to cold, that's a change. If you go from lukewarm to being hot, that's a change. He said, I wish, I would that thou were cold or hot. I want you to be cold, or I want you to be hot. Because cold water serves a purpose and hot water serves a purpose. But lukewarm, it's a problem. It's a problem. So, again, why are they lukewarm? Because thou sayest, I am rich. Are we living in a time where you can make as much money as you want to? We're living in a time period that you can pretty much do whatever you want to do. A time of great prosperity, a time of great knowledge and wisdom and understanding, as he prophesied to Daniel and told Daniel to shut the book up. Because it's not meant for you, it's meant for the end times. That knowledge would be increased, shall be increased. And with increased knowledge comes the ability to increase your wealth, to increase your money, to increase your pockets. Because thou sayest, I am rich. So we're not dealing with what we were dealing with before. This church age, this end times church is marked by prosperity, or the ability to get prosperity, to get money, to get nice houses, to get nice cars. The problem isn't getting those things, because some of you listen to the video right now, you live in a pretty nice house. The problem is that they were putting these things over the Lord, and they were more so focused on that. And he said, I know thy work. I know your spiritual work. I know why you do what you do. You're lukewarm. You just, I got the money, so, you paymaster. I'm just, there's nothing wrong with that. But when your heart isn't right, if you got the money, you can break some bread off to make some things happen in the spirit or whatever. There's nothing wrong with that. But obviously, these people were not and are not legit, because they were putting mammon over God, and they were not using the mammon, the money, the way it was supposed to be used. They were resting in the physical riches that they had, and they were not resting in the physical riches of Christ. Because thou sayest, I am rich and increase with goods. I got my pension, I got my 401k, I got my investments, I got my CDs, I got my stocks, I got my bonds, I got my real estate. I'm straight. But their works was lukewarm. And it says, and have need of nothing. I don't need nothing. My house paid for. I got a little in my car. I may be paying on that so I can keep my credit up. I got, 750 credit score. And knowest not that thou art wretched. So they have all these things. This church age is marked by the amount of physical possessions that they have. And trusting in those, he said that they are wretched and miserable and poor and blind. Well, obviously they're not physically blind, because they have to be able to see the things they're buying because they want it, right? So they are spiritually wretched. They are spiritually miserable because they have all these things, but inwardly they are miserable, which is the opposite of being truly in the gospel. They are spiritually poor because they got these riches, physical riches. So we know we're talking about spiritual poor. They don't have the spiritual riches of God. They are spiritually blind, and they are spiritually naked. We know they're not physically naked because if they got all these goods and they're buying the raiment and stuff like that, which is, hey, what did you come to see? Then he tells them, I counsel thee to buy me gold tried in the fire. So buy my riches, that thou mayest be rich, in white raiment, that thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. So Christ is saying that they are spiritually naked and physically. Even though they have on clothes, they are still physically naked in the eyes of the spiritual realm. And anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. As many as I love. So they're professing the name of Christ. He wants them to be right. He wants them to do the right thing. As many as I love, I rebuke and chasten. Be zealous, therefore, and repent. So he's giving a forewarning that, hey, you're going to be in this time, this church age, and you're going to have all these temptations. So something changed. We know how it was back in the day. But he's saying specifically these end times are going to be marked by prosperity, and that's going to be your trial, more so your trial, your tribulation, your temptation, and your persecution. Physical prosperity is persecution. It can be. Because you're tempted to get caught up in pursuing these different things. And that's the balance that a lot of people don't have. They have an imbalance, a spiritual imbalance where they cannot do both. They don't get to the point of being able to do both and being able to do both righteously. Meaning you in the word, but you also able to accumulate, I like to use the word resources, and be able to use those resources righteously and not become one of these people right here. So for a lot of people, Christ doesn't give you those different things because you're not prepared for it. And some of them, he gives opportunity, and he does give it to them to see what they're going to do. Everybody's test is different. So something changed. It changes throughout each church age, and we see with this last church age that is marked by not only having prosperity, but the ability to get prosperity. What we call, prosperity. What we call, these physical riches, these physical possessions and things. And it's not marked by the devil coming in and I'm finna take these believers, I'm finna, off of their head and everything. It's a different test because it's a different time. So there's a change. There's a change in how things were done and are being done right here and right now. And we see that, especially those of us who are here in America. I know some of you aren't in America, but come on now. We already know. We already know. America, man, you can make so much money, it's ridiculous. Right now, you can make a lot of money. And the issue isn't making the money. The issue is, where's your heart at? Where's your heart? There must be a change of heart. And if there isn't a change of heart, then everything's going to be the same for you. Even though there may seem to be changes, it's still going to be the same. Unless you are changed by the gospel of Christ, you're going to keep on going through the same nightmare. If you are one of the actual people who are lukewarm, you think you're changed, but you're not changed. So I just, want to speak that which was on my heart and show y'all what's really going on. And just like I said, just look around you. Look around you and see what's going on. Look at America. Look how America has been what we call prosperous for so many years. And we see a lot of that prosperity for a lot of people. You know, the wealthy, they're getting more wealthy, and there's a reason for that. But we see a change. There's a change coming. We see the decline of the dollar. We see the decline of the American society, the American economy. We see that, so we have to ask ourselves a question: why is there a change coming about? And if there's a change coming about, then that means that something new is coming. That means that something new is coming, and then things won't be the way they are right now. It will be different, and then you have to handle it accordingly. If we're still here, people talk about that they would have did this, they would have did that, if they was in this time period. I'm of the belief you would have did what you would did anytime. You know, me, if I was in a time period of Christ walking around, I would have handled the situation according to the situation. You know, that's just how I am. I believe that I could make it through any generation, any time period, by adjusting to what's going on. If it called for me to be persecuted in the sense of death, then so be it. Because I'm already prepared for that, no matter if it's 2021 or it's 2000 or it's, 2000 BC. Or the time period that Christ is walking on the earth. We gotta be prepared for anything. Anything. But we also have to realize the time period that we are living in. And we are living in a time period of the Laodiceans, where we're being tested in a different way. We're being persecuted in a different way. You know, especially for a lot of believers, where, we've struggled for so many years. And I know for myself, it's too easy for me to go out here and get this money. It's too easy. You may say, well, Brother King, you're doing real estate, and real estate can pay pretty good money. Yes, it can pay pretty good money. But I had to get into real estate in God's timing. It wasn't in my timing. It was in His timing. And like I told you, it's deeper than real estate. It's not about, a nice check. It's about the lessons and everything that I'm learning through it. That's what it's about. And it's preparing me for something greater in the future. Rather, it is in this earth age or it's in the next earth age, a millennial reign of Christ or after that. I'm being prepared. I'm going through training, which is going to make me and help me to grow to be a better teacher. The greatest teachers are the greatest students. And I want to continue to be a great teacher with the time that I have left. But for me, it's easy to get out here and get this money. If I really wanted to, it's too easy. And that's a test in itself. That's a test in itself. Because I'm like, okay, do I want to really focus on that, or do I want to do what God has called me to do and in His timing, move as He directs me to move, so that when I make that move or I do something, it's right, and not I did it myself and then it ends up not being right. So that's all I got for y'all today. I'm out. But with that being said, God bless each and every one of you in Jesus Christ's name. As always, stay focused with Jesus. And as you know, the truth is not debated, it's declared.